you'll be able to hear the audio, but for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers, this is the extra, one of the extras from my 3-hour film, 911, Martial Law, Rise of the Police State. It's really 3 films, so it's 911, Martial Law, it's Martial Law, 911, Rise of the Police State. Made so many films, can't remember the names of them, but this is really one of my better films, and really breaks, you watch this one film, you basically get the whole picture. This is the very end. The credits have Bush giving this cryptic speech about a dark cult of evil that thrives off human suffering. He's talking about his own people. And then it goes into the extras, the first extra dealing with torture. We're going to play just a few minutes of this, and then we'll continue with your calls. And Raleigh James, syndicated talk show host, never heard her. Get ready. She's a great lady, very informative, one of the people that helped wake me up. I used to listen to her in college. Back when I was trying to get into radio and TV, I was listening to her when she was in Austin. But let's go ahead and play part of my film, Martial Law 911, Rise of the Police State, going out of the credits into the first extra, where they are breaking pro-lifers sitting in front of buildings' doors or on the sidewalk, and they say, get up and walk. Oh, you won't get up and walk? I'm going to break your arm. And see, that's what the taser is. Oh, don't tase me, bro. Oh, you shouldn't ask a question of Carrie. We're now going to taser you as punishment. See, the taser's fine for protection for an officer, but when they're, oh, you didn't walk the yellow line when I gave you an order, bzzz, that's what it's now being used for. Or pregnant women, you argue with me, you didn't move quick enough, you didn't get up off a park bench fast enough. Well, again, they call this pain compliance, pressure compliance. This is one of the extras from my film, 911, Martial Law, 911, Rise of the Police State. Here it is.
Behind them is a cult of evil, which seeks to harm the innocent and thrives on human suffering.
To purchase additional copies of this film, or to see dozens of other films and important books, be sure and visit Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com.
I forgot there was this ad in between it.
1-888-888.
That's good, though.
253-3139.
All right, here's the extras, because they've kind of got it in the playthrough modes that go on the extras. Again, this is from my film, Martial Law 911, Rise of the Police State. Here it is, the extras.
The globalists have been systematically engaging in a massive brainwashing campaign, telling the public that torture is a good idea. And now we've seen the aftermath of torture. The Joseph Mengele-style abuses include killing detainees and harvesting their organs. But they don't just torture people to death. They do things so horrible we can't even mention them here. And there's no mystery when it comes to finding out who ordered all of this ultra-brutal torture at Camp X-Ray at Guantanamo Bay and Gitmo and 32 other camps in Iraq. Alberto Gonzalez and Chertoff and the rest of Bush's crew openly wrote memos detailing how torturing people unto death is an okay thing to do. It's part of the public record. The White House and Pentagon ordered the torture, but when they got caught, they just burned a few of their underlings. The Pentagon's own reports admit that 90% of those that were picked up at checkpoints in Iraq were totally innocent. But that didn't stop them from being tortured. In fact, the Army's own report admits that military dogs were used to bite and frighten detainees, that women were brutally raped, that detainees were beaten to death and sodomized with large objects dripping with battery acid. People's children were also raped in front of them to attain answers. This is the same type of mentality we see from serial killers, and it's riddled with all sorts of perverted sexual abuse. Is this what the land of the free and the home of the brave has become? After 13 years of sanctions, over 1.5 million Iraqis died, 700,000 of them children. And now thousands of private contractors have taken over the torture where the Pentagon left off, following in the footsteps of other famous control freak serial killers and torturers. The only reason the elite is selling us on torture is because they want to condition us to where we will accept its use against us. And it's been going on for decades in America, in the prisons, and against pro-life demonstrators, environmental activists, and anyone else that doesn't totally submit to their tyranny. The footage you're seeing is from the late 1980s and early 1990s, where the police openly pulled out nunchucks, started wrapping it around the arms of peaceful pro-life demonstrators, and brutally breaking them, simply because they refused to get off the side of the sidewalk. The police thought it was their right to break people's arms because they didn't follow their orders.
They used nunchucks on the rescuers. This is an illegal martial arts weapon, and merely possessing one in California is a felony. To be attacked with one is assault with a deadly weapon. Never before in the history of America have nunchucks been used on non-violent protesters. This is the gruesome sight of what happened. The police, in unprovoked cruelty, wrapped the nunchucks around Michael Hausman's arm and broke it. When lawyers went to federal Judge Tashima to request he order the police to cease using them, he denied the request, saying in so many words that pro-lifers could not prove they were in any danger.
I can't tell you what it's like to be lying on the ground with police officers on a top of you, using all sorts of torture holds to make you walk. You can't walk even if you wanted to walk, and their sole intent is to torture you, and then listening to the screams of the people.
When you bring out riot sticks, it's usually because you expect to see some serious opposition, so you put on helmets and you put on face masks and you carry shields. These policemen were bareheaded.
But here it was calculated torture, and the policemen were enjoying the pain. They laughed at the people screaming, and all of us screaming. All grown men, mature men. And you couldn't help but scream. What happened was when the two nightsticks squeezed on the wrists, they cut off the nerve ends and the flow of blood, and your hands swelled up to almost twice the size, and they turned black.
It didn't matter whether you were a woman, a man, an old person. It didn't matter what your age, sex, or anything, that they were just there. They were going to brutalize everybody. And I think probably to the women more particularly, that they were very angry that they couldn't get a young woman like myself to walk. And I could tell that it was a pride issue.
This is an important illustration because it shows us how long this tyranny has been going on in this country. And if they can get away with it with one group, they can get away with it against everybody. The fact of the matter is, the establishment and its enforcers have been setting the precedent for a long time to torture women in plain view of the public, to use illegal nunchucks and break people's arms. And now in Iraq, they have these big live TV shows with all the people confessing.
All right, we'll be
after
right
they've been
back. For
openly
those
tortured.
that aren't watching, they have the nunchucks breaking the arms with pleasure.